Hi, welcome. In the following videos, I will be demonstrating some of our recommended best practices for using the stack method effectively and easily. We want to help alleviate the stress associated with email and get your inbox to zero. It's important to note that these are recommendations. They're not hard and fast rules. We want the process to be comfortable and effortless to maintain, so please feel free to customize it to fit you. The stack method is designed to give you back more of your time and is completely non-destructive. You won't lose any important emails, we promise. Happy stacking! Okay, so we're going to talk about how to set up your stack method folders for Outlook Mac. So what we're going to do is let's review the folders on the left taskbar. So how we're going to set them up is we're going to go and right-click an inbox and do New Folder. Now the reason that I've actually put them here under the inbox is to keep it from looking cluttered. And then this allows me to also collapse and expand them so that way if I don't want to see the folders, I have a tidy left taskbar. If I do want to see the folders, then I can expand them by clicking the down arrow. Now, this untitled folder I would want to go ahead and name. And the reason that I've named these folders this way is because these are action-oriented words that remind me exactly what I need to do with each of the emails when I put them in the folder. So 1 reply, 2 do, 3 meet, etc. What this lets me know is that this is a priority in which I like to do my workflow. And this might be different for you, so you may want to customize it for you. So let's say I didn't have this, I would name this folder 1 reply, and so on. Putting the number in the name of the actual folder will float this in the order that you like to work. Okay, so we're going to talk about the stack method for Outlook in Mac. So what we're going to do is first, let me call your attention over here to our action folders that we created. And you'll see that they're nested under the inbox and that we've created them by using short action-oriented words that let us know immediately what we need to do with the email. Do I need to reply to an email? Do I need to schedule an email? Etc. You'll also notice that the numbers of the priority of how I like to work is in the actual name of the folder. So I like to reply to something, then do something, then meet, etc. Again, you can customize this for the order that you like to work in. So what we would do is we would look at our email, and if you remember, there's 4 steps to looking at and deciding what to do with an email. You're going to open it, you're going to scan it, you're going to decide what to do, and then you're going to act on it. So having these action folders ready to go that have the names of the action that you're going to need to do saves a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go in the email and I'm going to make that decision. What kind of an action is it? Now I'm going to say that this one is a reply, let's say. And I'm going to show you a keyboard shortcut to save you time to move your emails from the inbox into the appropriate folders. You could take your mouse and drag it in, but that takes a long time compared to doing Command-Shift-M, which pops open a box, and then you can literally type in the number or name of the actual folder that you want to move the email to, and it happens magically. So I'm going to say this one's a reply, and then I'm going to hit return, and then let's check, and there it is. It moved it right in there. And we're going to do that for each of them. So I'm going to say this one is for review. So again, Command-Shift-M, and this one is going to move it into the review folder. Let's check. And there it is for review. And we're going to do this with each of them, and I'm going to make a decision. So I'll say this one is a do. This one is, I'm going to actually select this entire thread. This one is a do. This one is, let's say this one's a do as well. So again, Command-Shift-M lets me pop open the window. I'm going to say this one is a newsletter. So we'll say that this one is actually a review, and so on. So you'll do this all the way through all of your emails. And I'm going to go ahead and do this quickly now. So then that way you can see we're working through it very fast. And then I don't have to use my mouse and I'm saving a lot of time. I'm going to say this one's a reply. And again, I can quickly make a decision as to what kind of email this really is. So I'm going to say this one's a reply. This one is going to be a forward, let's say. And I'm almost done with my inbox, which is pretty amazing. We'll say that one's a review. This one's a review. This one is a meeting request. Let's double check that that went in there. Here it is. Perfect. And then we're going to keep going. This one's a due. This one is a due as well. This one's a review. And this one finally is a due. Now I'm going to take a nice deep breath because my inbox is empty. And I'm going to feel great about that. And then I'm going to work through my folders. So the first priority folder is reply. And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to assess what I can flag and deal with right now in real time, and then archive or delete. And then some emails in here might be something that take a little more time and a little more effort, and I'm going to leave those in here for now. And again, not put them in my inbox. They're in the actual reply folder. So I know that even if I can't do it right now in real time, it's a reply, and I know what I need to do with it when I go to work on it later. So to flag in Outlook for Mac, you need to do Control-1, and that's the keyboard shortcut that saves you time. If you want to take it off, you can right-click, go to follow-up, clear flag, and that takes it off. If you do it quickly enough, you can do Command-Z to undo, but it depends. So I'm going to go ahead and flag and then use the up and down arrow keys. I'm just going to flag a few things that I want to deal with right now. And you would go through all of your replies and do this. For the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to do a few. And I would literally do this. I would work in real time and say, okay, this is a reply. So I'm going to say, great, thanks. I'm going to send it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and archive this. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can archive it with the button using your mouse, or let's do another one. Actually, let me flag another one that's not from me so it doesn't pop into my inbox. So Control-1 to flag. So I'm going to go ahead and respond to this one. Command-R is the shortcut to reply. And I'm going to say, yes, I do. Great. I'm going to send it. And then I'm going to go ahead and archive this. Now, another way to archive other than pressing the button is to do Control-E. And if I go into my archive, there it is. So that's another way you can do it as well. And I'm going to do this for every single one of my folders. Let's say I worked through all of the flagged replies and I archived or deleted them. I'd move on to the due folder and do the same thing. And the meet folder and do the same thing. And I would do this for each of them until I'd worked through the folders and the only things that were left in there were a handful of emails that I can come back to later. Then I'd go back to my inbox and feel relieved because I have nothing in there. And then for the rest of the day, I would work from my inbox only. So anything that came in, I would try to deal with in real time from my inbox. Okay, so a helpful tip is when we talk about emails with threads, it's making sure that your conversation view is selected so that you're grouping all similar emails that are on the same thread together. So if I go to this arrow right here and I expand it, you'll see that all of the emails that were related to this email are now grouped together. So how do we do this? Well, in the right-hand side of this little bar right here, you'll see this by conversations, and there's a down arrow. If I click on that, this is how you would group them. You'd want to check off conversations, click newest on top. So anything that comes in that's the most recent will be on top, and then you want to click show in groups. And when you do that, that enables you to keep all of the threads grouped together, and it just makes it a lot more handy for keeping track of the conversations. So keeping the stack method consistent is key. You want to build a habit so that you're constantly on top of your inbox and getting your inbox to zero. And one of the best ways to do this is by creating entries on your calendar that remind you that you have blocked time to deal with your emails. So if you look at the calendar entry I have here, you'll notice that there's 3 times. I have an hour time at the beginning of the day at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. that says stack, empty inbox, and process folders. And then I have 2 shorter half-hour times from 12:30 to 1 that say stack, work, inbox, and another one from 4 to 4:30 that says stack, work, inbox. So the first one, I've given myself an hour, and I've marked it as busy. And that enables me to do the actual stack method, go through the inbox, put things into the appropriate action folders, work through the action folders. Now, a lot of times people ask, wow, you're giving yourself a whole hour of working time to go ahead and do this? Yes, I'm doing that because if you think about how much time you spend on email and how much time that derails your ability to work on your projects or go to meetings, this is time that I need to spend every day to clean out my inbox, give myself peace of mind, and be ready for the day. So I've marked this as busy and given myself an hour. Now, you may get to a point where you're doing this so often and you're so comfortable with it, it only takes half an hour, and you can customize that as you need to. The other entries on the calendar here that are a half hour that say stack, work, inbox, I've marked as free. So if somebody needs to schedule time over that, or I have something else to do, easy to go ahead and work past that. Now, the most important thing is it has to be something that you're going to work on and find easy to maintain. So how we've gotten around that is we've decided that I've arbitrarily assigned these here, but you can put these in a session that's going to work the best for you. So let's say this, I don't have time to do this from 9 to 10, but today I do have an opening from 2 to 3. So I'm going to empty my folders then, and I could work on my inbox for a half hour this morning, so I'm going to move this around. You know what? Today I don't really have time to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And actually, let me move it up so you can see it. Let's say I didn't have time to do this today. I'm going to go ahead and delete it, just this occurrence, and then that way I can not worry about it today, but pick it back up tomorrow. So you can move these around, customize them as you want to, etc. Something that some people like to do is they like to sometimes start with their inbox very early and do a lunchtime inbox check. And then at the end of the day, they like to go ahead and do the inbox and process the folders. So you're going to customize this for however it works best for you so that you'll actually maintain the habit. Okay, so let's talk about using the Do folder in Outlook Mac. Now, the Do folder is an incredibly helpful tool because what you can do is schedule tasks for yourself or take tasks that people have sent you and put them on your calendar. And your calendar will have the email attached, and you'll also have it notated in your actual email so you'll know that it's been scheduled. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So I've gone already into my Do folder and I've flagged this email because this is something that I'm going to schedule right now. The first thing I'd want to do with the email selected is go up to Categorize and then click on Scheduled, which is a category that I've created. Now, how do you change it? You can literally go to Edit Categories, and you can see they give you colors, and you can add any category you want and choose a color, etc. So that's how you would do that. So if I've gone ahead and categorized this, and I've picked Scheduled, you'll notice that 2 things happen. The first thing is I get a green bar that appears that shows me that that email has been scheduled. And then in the actual email itself, there is now something that says scheduled that's green. Now I want to go ahead and put this on my calendar. So I'm going to take this email and literally drag it down to the calendar icon and put it on there. And then an appointment window pops up. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to this categorize option and I'm going to select scheduled. And you'll see that that green scheduled appears. And then the next thing I'm going to do, which is important, is type in the word do with a colon and a space. And this lets me know this is something that I'm going to do that's been scheduled. And then I'm going to hit save and close. When I do that, if I toggle back to my calendar, you'll see that it appears right on my calendar. It's green, like in the email, and the word due is there. So that appointment is there. If I double click to open it, you'll see the other nice thing is that the email that it's referencing is attached. So that's how you would go ahead and do that in the due folder, and it's an incredibly helpful tool. So let's talk about tracking with Remind. So in the course of the day, we're going to send out tons of emails. And sometimes we need to keep track of a specific email that we're going to follow up with a client, or it's something we want to remind ourselves about later. Could you look for it in your sent messages? Yes, you certainly could, but it might take you a really long time to find it, and it might be cumbersome. So for the handful of emails that you want to keep track of, I'm going to show you a shortcut to help you put it in your Remind folder, and then it's there so that you can follow up without having to do a huge search in your sent messages. So what we're going to do is, for the purposes of this, let's create a new email. And then I'm going to go ahead and send this out. And I'm going to BCC myself. And this is my email address here. And I'm going to go ahead and BCC myself. So BCCing myself when I send the message allows this to go into my inbox. So the client will receive their message, and then I'll receive my message as a BCC. So here it is in my inbox. You can see there it is. And then I would just do my Command-Shift-M, hit 4, and put that right in my Remind folder. And there it is. So here's the email that I just sent there. And then when I'm working through my folders, it'll be there as a reminder. You can also do this as a reply as well. So let's say I'm in inbox and I want to reply to this, but I want to keep track of the reply. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go ahead and reply to it. And I'm going to BCC myself, just like I did in the last one. And then I'm going to send it. And then same thing, this is going to appear in my inbox. And then as it appears in my inbox, it will then be something I can move into my Remind folder. So here it is. I've BCC'd myself. And literally, I would do the exact same thing. I would open it up. I would move it right into my Remind folder. And if I go into my Remind folder, here it is. So that way I can keep track of it, but I don't need to keep everything that I'm sending from my sent mails, because you probably aren't going to look at all of those things that you send. Just a handful that you want to remind yourself to follow up on. So let's talk about the When folder. The When folder is here, and although it is in sequence with some of the other action folders we have, the When folder works a little differently. We're going to use the When folder for active projects that we're working on right now, or active folders that we need to access. So what I would use the When folder for here is, for example, this is something I'm working on right now. Here's a project I'm putting together. And then what I would do is I would set this up. So anytime something came in, I would go ahead and move it to one of these folders. And that way, when I went to go work on Project X, for example, everything I need for Project X is all going to be in the same folder without having to pull it out of other sources. So that's how we would use the When folder. One of the most important things we can do is turn off notifications in our email. Now, at first that seems a little scary, but I assure you, you'll still check your email a whole bunch. So very easy. You would go up to where it says Outlook, go to Preferences, go to Notifications and Sounds, and then you would uncheck all of these options under Sounds. So then that way, anytime you get an email, you'll still get it and you'll still check it, but you won't be bombarded by notifications. Okay, so this is using rules on Outlook for Mac, and it's a little bit different than Outlook for PC, but basically I'm going to go ahead and hover over an email that I want to create a rule for. So I'm going to hover over this Radel team, and then I'm going to actually go into the rules up here, create rule, and then you can see the rule name that they automatically applied here is received from the Radel team. I can just call it the Radel team. I don't have to have received from. And if I get rid of this, then I can also change all of the specifications for this. So I can have it be from, sent to, subject, and these plus and minus signs allow you to add choices onto the rules. So you can go ahead and expand each one of these, and you can have has attachments, date received, and you can type in anything you want. So you can customize the rule to be as specific as you want. Then you have to pick an action. So the action I'm going to pick here is move to folder. And I'm going to go ahead and change this actually to review, because that's going to be a newsletter. And I'm actually going to take some of these guys off because I don't need them. There we go. So then if I want to move this to a folder, I can decide if I want to apply this to the other rules to messages that meet the same conditions. Now, I probably do want to apply these other rules to messages that meet the same conditions if it is something like a newsletter. In this case, I'm going to say I don't want to do it. I want it enabled, and I'm going to click OK. And by the way, the folder I'm moving it to is review, and I can change the folder by using this menu or clicking on choose folder and typing in the number or the name of the folder, and then it'll select it. So I'm going to click OK, and you can see that it saves the rules to the server. So now if I go to rules, this says move messages from the Radel team. Now if I do that, what it's going to do is it's going to ask me what folder I want to move it to. I'm going to do 6 review. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to save those rules and move it. So now if I go to review, there it is. And anytime the Radel team sends me a new email, it'll go automatically into my review folder, and it won't clutter my inbox. Sometimes you want to open up a bunch of emails at the same time while you're stacking in your inbox so that you can save yourself time as you answer all of the emails. You're doing it in real time, and then you can close a tab and go ahead and archive it out of your inbox, and you're done with it for the day. So I'm in Outlook for Mac, and it's pretty easy. You would just hit Shift and select a range of emails that you want to open up in new tabs. And then if you right click, you'll get open messages as an option. And if you click that, you want to say yes, and you'll see that they all open up in separate windows, and you can go ahead and reply in real time, close the window when you're done with it. And then once you're done with all of these emails, I did 11 of them. So let's say I replied to all of these in real time and dealt with it in real time, then I could go back in and just go ahead and archive this entire selected area, and I'd be done with all of those emails for the day.